Hi, I'm Jo Ruddock, Content Editor at SVG Europe, and I'm here with Kevin Salvidge, Sales Engineering Manager at Leader Europe based in London. So Kevin, let's start with what trends you're seeing in terms of acquisition and what challenges this is creating for your customers.
So I think one of the major trends we're seeing now is the acquisition of major sporting events in 4K, UHD, HDR. We're seeing, there is an increased appetite. While consumers were locked down, they were watching other services. They've been exposed to high dynamic range now. They've seen it in feature films. They've seen it in high-end television production. Some of them may have seen it at sporting events like the FIFA 2018 World Cup. And now we're seeing it kind of push through into kind of major sporting events. And I'd say with HDR, once you've seen HDR pictures, you can't unsee them. It's, you can't go back. And when you do, it sort of looks a bit, doesn't quite look right anymore.
Yeah,
but obviously one of the big challenges we face here that yes, 4K, wide color gamut, HDR is the shiny new tool that everybody's talking about, but the majority of customers are still watching in HD standard dynamic range. And one of the challenges, our customers face is that they have to cost effectively deliver both, acquiring in the highest possible standard so that they can then drop down. For many, this won't be new. They did this when HD first appeared. They were delivering standard definition to their client base, yet they were requiring an HD and down converting. And that's what we're now seeing a lot of productions do with 4K wide color gamut HDR. That's the kind of house standard that they're producing to, and then they're doing the conversion as the last piece. And the great thing is that if you get everything set up right and using the tools that Leader have, you can simultaneously monitor both your 4K wide color gamut HDR and your HD 709 SDR so that they both naturally drop out at the end and you're not compromising either, during the event.
So tell us a bit about the tools that Leader has then and how they're helping customers to solve those challenges.
So the tools we launched back in 2018, the Leader Zen series, and the idea of the product range is a common user interface. So irrespective of the customer's kind of physical footprint, how much space have they got for the equipment or what they require, that they all operate the same. They start off as a 3G HD SDI product, and then they can be upgraded via a software license, which allows you to then do 4K, UHD, wide color gamut, all the tools, along with a customizable layout display. Because as we move forward here, the traditional single screen display or 4 tools in a quad split doesn't work. You now need 5 or 6 analysis tools simultaneously. And with the customizable layout, this allows our customers to configure the displays to show exactly the tools they want, the size and position on the screen for each production's specific requirements.
Okay, and what about remote production? We've seen a lot of acceleration there over the past couple of years. How is Leader responding to this?
So it's quite ironic that we sort of had a product, the LVB 440 IP analyzer, that was sort of ahead of its time when it came to IP remote production. Obviously, the events of the last 18 months have sort of forced our hands with travel restrictions, social distancing and that. And the advent of the 2110 SMPTE standards for uncompressed video over IP is now, allowing remote production to kind of come of age. And tools like the LVB 440 not only provide an in-depth analysis of all of the 2110 profiles, but with the widget display, they also provide multi-viewer, low latency displays. And that's always been a challenge with remote production and IP, that to view the images as you would do in an OB truck on the venue you need to convert them to SDI to go into the multi-viewer displays and such like. And that adds latency. We're dealing with live events here. Yes, you can delay everything inside a production facility, but if somebody's also watching that football match on a medium wave radio and they hear the goal go in 20 seconds because that's the delay you've added, that's not acceptable to your production. So this is the tools that kind of the LVB 440 is allowing, that kind of low latency viewing, and it's allowing us also to reduce the amount of staff actually at the venues, because now you can start to do operations like camera shading remotely. We've got examples of that where it's being done, over thousands of kilometers. It's almost like it's an IP head-end truck with the camera operators and engineer in charge, but then you've got the camera shading, you've got the HDR supervisor, you've got the vision engineers all back in the remote production center. So, once again, circumstances have driven our industry forward, but once again, I think we've now come up with a very elegant solution that complements that traditional on-site OB production and enhances it, and now opens up opportunities for, more productions to be carried out this way. Many that probably couldn't even afford it or think that the level of that high quality production was available to their product.
And finally, what do you see as the future of IP and remote production?
So one of the things we're excited to be involved with is JPEGXS. So 2110 was based around uncompressed video. Now, with the introduction of, I think, 2110-22, we have an opportunity to handle compressed signals. And our LVB 440 already supports the ability to analyze exactly the same way you would do with the 2110 signals, but with compressed video. And this is going to open up huge opportunities as, the various broadcast manufacturers you're probably speaking to are talking about implementing JPEGXS in their products. This is going to provide a low latency, low bit rate, no compromise solution that is just going to accelerate this kind of remote IP production that we're seeing.
Brilliant. I look forward to seeing more of it. And thank you again for your time today.
Thank you very much.